Hello and welcome everybody to another wonderful day. I am here with Yuki,
Hi, hi.
and today we should be going over summer anime. Goddamn, I already have running into scuff over here. Summer
Oh,
anime for 2024, or as we like to have called it, the summer of suck.
well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but certainly the summer of disappointment.
Yes, yes.
As you all might notice, I'm sounding a little bit rough today. I have been sick for the last 5 days. I will probably be talking as little as possible this time, and as a result, we also have kind of a reduced schedule this evening.
Yeah, we will not be going through every anime individually. For a full-on review, we are going to be sticking to the ones we wanted to have talking points about. Although the ranking system will be there and everything will be ranked, able to follow up on all of our social media platforms after the stream. But a quick rundown of what we will be ranking our summer anime as. We have the coveted S tier, a true masterpiece that has redefined a genre or type of anime. This is one of the highest points any show can amount to, and it is highly revered. Underneath the S, we will have the A, which is the top of its own genre, a solidly built creative work. These are the shows you are there to watch to just be great entertainment. Always go back and great watches. Generally, almost nothing wrong, but just not quite pushing its medium any further. The B tier is also a tier where you would find some really great hits, just minor flaws, some issues here or there, but overall just solid pieces of work that just needed a little bit more to push them up. Underneath C, or not underneath C, blah, talking. And underneath B, we have C, the very solid in its own genre if you do like that genre. If you are not a fan of said genre, it is a possibly a skip watch for you, if not that. And for our last two, probably we have our basic trash section, which has been replaced by the rom-com trash. Now, trash does not necessarily mean bad or unwatchable or irredeemable. These are the shows that are good popcorn food. They're not well made. Not all of them are well made. Not all of them are great, but they can be fun, especially if these are the genres you like. And we have Skip. Yuki, do you remember how many freaking shows that there were this season?
Yes, I do have that number actually. And the total that we covered, in some regard or another at the start of the season was 39. It was quite a season.
Yeah. So with that sheer amount of shows to watch, and seeing as how we both are dedicating a good chunk of our own lives to doing this, if we're throwing it in skip the shows. There are better. If there's stuff you like, there's better thing to watch. Maybe go back a season. Maybe go back. Don't watch these shows. Generally, but oh right, we are going to be going over some trailers. Yuki, what is let's start off strong. What's the first trailer you have up for us?
First one I have up for us is my dear friend Nokotan.
All right. Okay, play when ready.
All right, sorry, give me just a second. I realized that I didn't have the tier list set up because we did that differently last time.
Did we?
Yeah, previously it was Ninja Dover.
Really?
Yep, really. Um,
Ooh, my bad then.
no, that's okay. I am attempting to rectify currently.
Don't you all just love a little bit of scuff in the morning or night, middle of your day? Why are some of you up at this hour even? But
Okay, I think it's this one. That's incorrect. There we go. And it is tiny on my screen. Attempting to fix that real quick.
well, let's jump over to Yuki's side and let's see how this looks.
It looks awful. Nope, too far down. That should be good enough. All right.
Yeah.
私は鹿と人のハイブリッド。なぜ鹿は鹿せんべいを食べるのか。鹿姉様、セーラー服を着ているの。
その者セーラー服をまといて鹿の野に降り立つべし。古き言い伝えはまことであった。何このイリュージョン。
これが問題の鹿部ね。鹿部撲滅計画。何か弱みをつかまないと。お待たせ。ようこそ鹿部へ。めちゃくちゃ浮かれポンチのやつ来た。そうだ。特別にこれをあげよう。ほら。鹿うま鹿ねどうして鹿だ。角だこれ。それでも鹿しろうが。やってこいや。これを作ってねえ使えるかこんなの。え？やっぱこれからの時代鹿だと思うんだよね。ああ、部活の時間だ。お姉ちゃん専用の鹿なのよ。鹿としてしっかり米育てます。動いた。すみません。先輩と喋れた。もう仕方ねえな。
てっぺん飛んぞ。
こしたー。このこのここしたんたん。鹿のこのこのここしたんたん。おやつでも食べるか。ない。
バカな
バナナです。
All right. So, I wanted to touch on this one just because we had some really high hopes for the series.
Nichijou,
And
it was not.
Exactly. We likened it very much to things like Nichijou, and it definitely did not end up reaching those expectations. It kind of fell off pretty quickly, and unfortunately, the deer puns were not sufficient to carry it through an entire season.
Yeah, this is a comedy anime who has one decently funny gag or joke, and all they're doing is reworking that same gag and joke into a dozen different references. Honestly, at some point, this just became reference the show plus deer.
Yeah, like the first episode made such a huge impact, and then after that, like you could kind of tell they blew the entire show's budget on episode 1.
Yeah, I mean they did some fun stuff. There was some. This isn't a good binge show. This isn't a good kind of pull up. If you want to watch some funny deer puns for 20 minutes, this isn't bad. If you like comedy shows, it's okay. I don't think I want to say C. I might be willing to go B. I could also see skip. Yuki, where would you like to throw this?
Dear friend Nokotan, ultimately I gave it a B. It was amusing. It did a few cool things early on. It was better than the average show this season, but yeah,
This is going to be
your
a bottom
reaction
heavy
says a lot.
pyramid heavy people. All right, why don't we try going in order for the rest of these so I don't get too turned around. I think
Sure.
the Elusive Samurai should be next, which will be another trailer. We'll be going over this one because I did want to talk about that one.
Sure thing. Let me pull that up.
Let me know when you are ready to go.
All right, here we go.
時行様もう逃げられませんぞ時行様
私はこの鎌倉が好きだ。平和に暮らす人々の笑顔を見るのが好きだ。
まったく逃げるのと隠れるのばかりが得意なお子だ。同じ武士でも高氏とは器が違いすぎる。
怠惰、臆病、それでいい。お飾りの私に文武の力など無用の長物だ。怠惰でも臆病でもなく、それはあなたに眠る怪物のかけら。
噂通りの逃げ上手でございますな。足利が密かに後醍醐天皇と内通し、この鎌倉にも軍を向かわせているとのこと。
裏切り者の武士たちによって鎌倉のすべてが破壊されていく。
死なせてください、私のことも。
では死になされ。死の淵の淵に立たされてこそあなた様の中の英雄は輝く。
Wow, no wonder this one surprised me so much from that trailer.
Yeah, the trailer really didn't touch on the amazing Sakuga that we saw in the first couple episodes at all.
Yep. So there
Or
were
maybe it was just step one.
Yep, there was 3 big reasons I wanted to bring this one up, and I thought I'd already talk about one. Holy God, is this? I might call that the best looking show this season. Honestly, this is the Sakuga is beautiful. The colors pop. There are so many beautiful I don't care about animation too much. This show looks pretty. I don't know how much you watched on that one, Yuki. You're a little bit better at the
This
animation.
show, yeah, despite how good the animation was, I didn't end up really sticking with this one. I'm gonna blame that just on the amount of stuff there was to watch and knowing that you were already on this one.
Yep. All right. I just wondered if you had any better points on the animation. Because that's the best point. I can't describe that too well. Words elude me on how pretty something can look. This one is as someone who is blind to this, it looks great. The second thing, the story on this one is far darker than that trailer lets on. Which also kind of leads into my third point. This is a Japanese historical show. And when I mean historical, I don't mean, they're going to talk. No, you're going to see beheading. You're going to see the warring states of Japan in their full, bloody, dark glory. Contrast to such a childish whimsy and war. It's a dark war orphan story. That being said, the drawback to this show is it's a Japanese historical piece. And if you are unfamiliar with who some of these people are supposed to be right away, you will be lost. You will not understand what is going on. This does require, I don't know what level of Japanese history to know it, but it does require a level of Japanese history to understand some of the things going on or some of the reasons why people are doing things.
I will say it probably requires a higher level of Japanese history than I have, which is probably another contributing factor to why this one didn't really quite make the cut for me.
Yep. If you are a bit familiar with some of the Samurai War series or other historical Japanese games, you might notice a little bit more. This isn't a deep dive. This is just the big players kind of thing, it feels like. But that is a big part of it. Other than that, though, this is a This is a high B. It's the
The camera work and fight choreography seemed very exceptional as well.
yeah, if you want to just kind of have a dark story with beautiful animation and samurai fighting, this is a great show. I'm pretty sure it's going to get some more seasons. This had a lot of love put into it, I can definitely tell. But all right, let's see here.
Sounds like maybe a little impenetrable to those who are not in that particular genre, though.
I really would say impenetrable. It might make you curious because you don't need to know anything too well, other than maybe a handful of the main cast. But if you want a dipping point into Japanese lore, or not lore, all is lore.
I mean, technically it's lore.
Yeah, Japanese history. This might be a good place to get your feet wet in. But if you just want to watch cool anime fight scenes that are more grounded in realism than they are fantasy, this is also a good show to watch because neither the history does not drag it down. It is there. It does matter a bit, but it is the top layer of frosting. It is not the whole cake, and it is a good cake. All right, pseudo harem, rom-com
I
trash.
gave that one a skip, actually. Pseudo harem was very disjointed, on top of being a Billy Billy anime and not having great animation to the point where you could barely understand what emotion the characters were supposed to have in what was supposed to be a romance.
Ooh, that's coming from you. Okay, yeah. That's a holy fuck. That's a lot. A solid skip on that one. I was expecting our first rom-com trash. All right, VTuber Legend is the next on our list.
That one we did want to talk about, so let me go ahead and pull up the video there.
Oh.
Where did my... There it is. Okay.
さて次の質問は何ですかね。推しがアニメで動いた時どうでしたか。やっぱり感動しましたか。そうですね、初めて見た時はその場で叫んじゃいましたね。私がママになっわあマジたまらん。推しが動いてらっしゃる。はあ尊い。この感情はリスナーたちにも共有しなければ。よっしゃー、配信始めるぞってことで3いっちゃう。そんな2次会いっちゃうみたいなノリで言われてもいきません。
Okay then.
So, yeah, I wanted to touch on this one because this is one of the few series that actually kind of did meet our expectations this season. Which is to say, early impressions were that it seemed very accurate to the VTuber experience. They even went so far as to get like the rights to use the actual Bennett Foddy game, and they were using actual live 2D models in the anime, which like really kind of kicked things up a notch for realism. But the more the series went on, the more real it felt to the VTuber experience. In terms of not just like the tech and everything, but the characters and their interactions with each other.
Let me just say one thing.
Indeed.
Yeah, this I was a little inferior at the start of this. I was a little worried, like, oh, why are they always in costume? Why are they? It's like, oh no. That's just them laying their persona over themselves when they're kind of doing all this stuff.
Yeah, and actually, I had wanted to touch on that too, because that was something you had mentioned early on in our initial review, and I thought it was interesting that it turned out that all of the background characters were just like faceless, and indeed headless drones that had like holes in their chest and were like missing pieces. So there was like some very clear like visual language happening there, where anyone who wasn't a VTuber and like known to the other characters as a VTuber, or like their direct manager maybe fell into that bucket. And we even saw at one point a character start out as one of those kind of faceless, headless drones, and then become their VTuber persona as it became known to the main character that they were a VTuber that they knew.
Yeah, it's I one going over this. It's the one thing I really did enjoy is this feels like somebody wrote this who has tried VTubing or has been in the close enough to somebody who does do this that knows what it's like, and that it really did feel like that. Like I'll joke with some of the other stuff, but the amount of not just the like exaggeration of your own personality, but things this can take out of you and you have to put into it. This show got that weirdly across, and for somebody who doesn't do any of this, who isn't behind a camera, I can understand like, oh, it doesn't feel like this, or this hits. I felt that. I think Yuki, you felt that a bit too.
Oh yeah, and their character who is literally traumatized by like having to work a 9-to-5 job. I think that resonates very strongly within the VTuber community as a whole.
Oh yeah. God, am I'm talking. All right, Yuki, where do you want to put this?
I believe I kind of settled on this actually being like a was it a B? I think yeah, this one I settled on it being a B. I would be okay with calling it an A, but realistically, in terms of like the sort of day-to-day animation quality and stuff, it just wasn't quite there.
Yeah,
so I definitely dinged it a little bit for that.
I think the other problem I have too is, like I said, it's so if somebody behind the camera, behind the model, I can resonate with this show on a lot of different levels. If you're not that though, I could definitely see you bouncing off of this.
Yeah, that was part of my issue with it too. Is if you're not a VTuber, I think this loses a lot of its appeal.
Yep. Okay, it's going above Nadeko, below a Samurai though.
Yeah, that seems fair.
All right, and yeah, we have front loaded a lot of trailers. Sakuna of Rice and Rain.
Rice and Ruin. Okay.
Rice and Ruin. Rice and Ruin.
I did leave that on here, didn't I? Oh yeah, okay, that's right, because it was called Tensui no Sakuna Hime in the Japanese. Alright, here we go.
遥か東方にヤナトの国あり。古来よりこの地では神の世と人の世、二つの世があると信じられている。桜姫よ、そなたをこの都から追放とする。
わしは何一つ知らぬのじゃぞ。田植えも稲作も。
では諦めるということで。
Oh, great.
そりゃ仕事は向いてねえんだ。
なな。
知る、大事。
Alright, I tried with the closed captions, sorry.
No.
最近鬼どもが騒がし、お姫様は北条氏米の力を借りるのです。
悪心大見しのお目覚めだ。島を救うためにございます。
わしはやはりこの島が好きじゃ。この島を守りたい。
さらば竹指の娘よ。
母上。金太と結がわしの道具を作ってくれた。ミルテが米を炊き、さらなる力をわしにくれた。一人ではない、皆がおる。これが米の力だ。
Oh God. All right, I think this was one I was solely in charge of. I don't think you watched too much of this.
Yeah, that's correct. I only caught like the beginning of the series, like maybe even just the first episode. Seemed like a very pretty anime that was based off of a very pretty game, but couldn't tell you much about it besides that.
Yep. All right. So I will say this is based off a video game based off Japanese lore that's kind of a Rune Factory clone or Rune Factory like. So Harvest Moon with combat, Story of Seasons with combat. That's about as many references I can think of off the top of my head on that. The reasons I wanted to bring this up was one, while stylized, dear God, why does this look? This one looks really good. Like for a game tie-in, I was not expecting something of this high quality animation. The characters built into this story too are very. There is nobody in this entire show I don't want to say love because I think there was a couple I just liked, but I cared about all of the main cast of this show. I cared about the story going on, the personal connections everyone made, backdrop to crazy good fight scenes, and learning a weird about rice farming. and not something I expect from a show. But it blew.
I will throw in one of the weird things about the game is it actually expected you to know about rice farming going into it. So, like, I failed miserably because I planted the rice too close together, but there was no indicator that that was a thing.
But I don't know if it's because they knew what the story of the game was or what, but this, like I said, I love world building. I love characters. Those are how you get me into a show. And dear fucking God, this just hit on every note. The only major drawback I can really, really give this show is it's the entire, I'm guessing it's the entire game's story. So it speed runs a lot of stuff. It feels like it definitely felt like, and then a year passed. I think at one point was like in the show, just because they were speeding up the harvest season or something like that. So that is a bit of a detractor. On the other hand, everyone's hitting so off, and my biggest complaint is I wanted another season in this one. is my detraction. I really can't go too much.
It felt a little too rushed is a valid detraction, though.
Yep. But once again, so many good parts in this. Like, I legit think I might try the video game now. Like, if this show was only there to sell me a video game, it probably has succeeded.
And the interesting thing, too, is this wasn't a mobile game or anything like that. This is actually like you buy it, you own it, physical copy, like Switch game that you can get or PlayStation or whatever platform you want.
Yeah, if you told me this was Switch PC exclusive, I would believe it. There's more of those than you think there are.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm pretty sure this one's also available on PlayStation. I'm not sure if they bothered releasing it for Xbox. Purely because it is a Japanese game and the Xbox has dismal sales in Japan.
Yep. Oh,
Medline_Thomas just followed.
Midland Thomas, thank you for the follow. Oh, let's see here. Where do we want to throw this?
I am deferring to you on this one because
Yeah.
I did not watch enough of it to give it a solid rating.
Once again, well, it is solid. That rush is a bit detraction on that one. I think I'm gonna throw this at the top of B. I liked a lot more the story it had in this one, but that rush was the kind of it. Medline, we are going good. We are in the middle of our anime review. I think next on our list, though, just so we don't bog ourselves down too much, and our queue was a oh, this was the twins one, wasn't it?
Yes. Oh, apparently our stream together has ended. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing your chat in my chat.
Has it?
That's what it says on my side.
Oh, it's oh yeah, it's saying I can't do it.
Weird.
Okay, I will make sure to keep check. Stream is going good. We are currently trying to fix scuff now. Okay. Where are we throwing? What was this one called again, Yuki?
Oh, this one was, sorry, I'm caught off guard now, because I was messing with scuff. No.
Not daily, but we are generally at 4
Love
days
is
a week.
Indivisible by Twins was the name of this one.
All right.
And I
Here-
was putting this one also at a B. I would say it's probably just above the VTuber show.
Ooh, so not rom-com trash.
No, it wasn't really trash, to be honest. Like, it was a decent rom-com show.
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna go with that. Too Many Losing Heroines, I believe, is next.
Yeah, Makaini. Here we go.
Oh, we're going over this one?
I thought we were.
そういえば
Hold
世
on.
の中にはこいつみたいな女を表す言葉がある負けヒロインだ
Yeah, it was on the list.
分けられる幼なじみか泥棒の子そう二人はただの友達だよね私運ゲ部1年のそんな悲しいことはやめるんだ見つけたいあなたをずっと探してたもうちょっとでカレンちゃんの胸をわしづかみにするところだったよ
真面目な顔で何言ってんだこいつ
All right. I didn't really actually want to discuss this one too much, but I did want to bring it up as a talking point, if only because it is one of the few shows I actually gave an A to this season.
Ooh, so
Um,
this is...
And basically that boiled down to just like consistently high quality throughout the entire series. There was not like a single static shot to be found anywhere in this season of this series. And on top of that, the characters all had great chemistry. It felt a lot like 100 Girlfriends, but it's like from the opposite vantage point. Like 100 Girlfriends that got rejected and ended up hanging out with this other dude instead.
The ultimate friend zone, man. No, it was pretty good. Answering your question, Madeline, yes, I did make my model on this one. I got about 3 episodes in, and then the season overwhelmed me, so I don't have too much input on that. I could believe you if you did say that, though. It's like that was one ones I was kind of enjoying as I was going through it before I got.
Yeah, and on top of that, I will say that there's not usually a ton of rom-coms that you will see Sakuga in.
Yeah.
That definitely made it stand apart a little bit.
Oh yeah, no questions on that one. Okay.
Looks like next up is Magical Girl and the Evil Lieutenant.
Magical Girl and Evil Lieutenant. All right, was this a? Wait, I forget. Was this one? Of the ones
Yes, this one was also on the discussion list.
Okay, yep, I thought so. This one. Next trailer, everybody.
魔法少女を倒す使命、それは他でもない私のものだ。
悪の参謀、そこまでです。あなたの好きにはさせません。
私はどうしてしまったんだ。悪のエリート人生が狂わされている。
未完成なままでいいの。エンタの花はいらないから。
思い出せ、私は悪、その権限。
参謀さんは本当に優しい人。こんな人が悪の組織だなんて不思議。
くそー、可愛いな、可愛すぎる。俺も補佐することになったぞ。
酒買ってこいや。
彼女は見つかいとやらに騙されている。
全部俺のもんだ。
毎日参謀さんのことばかり考えています。
終わらせよう、この関係を。我々は敵同士なのだから。
小さな幸せを
次会う時は殺し合うことになるかもしれない。三森白夜は失格だ。
私がやる。憧れてたからやめません。参謀さんに会えたから。
魔法少女、
参謀さん、
明日こそ。
明日も会えますか？
Alright, so, the reason I wanted to talk about this one for a second is mostly because of the second magical girl that you see in this series, who is the one dressed in black. And I want to give credit for her being one of the most entertaining side characters in any show this season. She shows up around midway through the series and is just random chaos and biting people and cursing the entire time.
Yeah, this show was Is it weird to call an entire show neural divergent?
Not really. I get where you're going with that for sure.
Because everybody in this show just felt like they had a couple of important screws that didn't get tightened down.
Yeah, I could see where you're going with that for sure. Everyone from the cat who is a total scumbag pervert to the main characters who are both socially awkward.
Yep. This also did some fairly good animation. Where would you like to throw this one?
Ultimately, I put this one at a B tier myself.
I'll give it below Sakuna. That way, sorry.
I would say it probably belongs below VTuber even.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So close to a C. Looking at you, dear. All right. All right. Autism, the show.
Oh, the QA show.
Sorry. Yep.
繰り返しの平穏な毎日。それで問題ないと思っていました。あの日までは。
逃げろー！こっちに向かってくるぞー！
ドラゴン？シーカー？
キングスシーカーじゃねえかな。 えりすぐりのエリート揃いって噂だぜ。
僕は羽賀と言います。今のうちに報告を済ませておこう。
私は村の宿屋で働いてるニコラです。ひょっとして王様が使わしたっていうシーカー様だったり？
お前真面目すぎだろ。頼りになるのかならんのかわからんやつらだな。
びっくりしたよね。ごめんね。大丈夫、僕は敵じゃないよ。
羽賀さんはあそこで何をされてたんですか？
ドラゴンを近くで観察したくて。
羽賀さん？やっぱり羽賀さんはただものじゃ。
さてどうするか。僕は一人でも仕事を続ける。君たちとは行かない。こいつ不死身かよ。よし、オッケー、パターン入った。だから真面目にチェックしろって言ってるんだ。ニコラさん、村へ戻って。すぐに村に戻ってみんなを避難させてください。大きなドラゴンが一頭村を襲いに来ます。早く走って。はい。ニコラ、今は君を死なせるわけにはいかないんだ。
So I wanted to say a couple things about this show. One of which is that it is pretty accurate to the quality assurance experience. I think it hints at things maybe being done a little bit differently in Japan than they are in the US in terms of like how the hiring structure works. But aside from that, like, yes, you absolutely will spend all day just ramming your face into a wall and running around. That is 100% a thing that a lot of QA testers will actually almost every QA tester will experience in the course of their employment.
Can I phase through wall? Jump, rub, jump, rub, jump, rub.
The other thing I wanted to touch on a little bit is that the monster designs especially, but the character designs in general do feel a little bit out of place for me in a show of this type. I suspect that a lot of what they were targeting here was to kind of latch on to the Dragon Quest vibe, which, to be fair, is definitely like the de facto RPG experience that people think of in Japan. But it definitely isn't outside of Japan, which makes this show, I think, not quite translate well, as well, I guess, into other markets.
Oh,
Because,
you
like,
mean the rest of the world isn't driven to the point of insanity over Dragon Quest that their government and crime shut down on a mainline title being released?
correct, yes.
That's not
In
an
fact-
over exaggeration either. They're just like how the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is reducing the Mexican drug cartel's activity currently. Dragon Quest will shut down the Yakuza in Japan.
Yeah, it's definitely not nearly as universal of an experience outside the Japanese market. In fact, if you ask even the average JRPG player in the US about Dragon Quest, they probably will have very little to say about it.
Can confirm.
That said, I felt I had to kind of almost ding this series a little bit in terms of the fact that it might not be as relatable to people who have worked outside, who have not worked in QA, as I have.
Or
Just
haven't-
because I have to assume there's a degree of bias on my part there towards this show.
Well, that or a functional degree of autism. I know that this show just felt like I was scratching this itch sometimes.
Fair enough.
Other
Anything
than
else
that,
you wanted to add about it?
not too much. It was overall, it felt decent. I did kind of like how just neurodivergent the main character could be about everything he did. It was enjoyable because it's like, I know this person. I like this guy too. It's not like somebody's like, oh yeah, it was that. This is, oh yeah, no, you're the weird fun guy. And it's so nice to have a character that's off but fun in a show like this. Is this a B or do we have our first C?
I ended up putting it at a B myself, and that was after kind of docking it some points for, perceived bias on my part.
Yeah.
I'd still definitely put it above Nokotan and probably at least above the Magical Girl show as well.
Yeah. Okay, we have.
Okay, I can tell what that is. That is.
Yeah.
Senpai is an Otonoko.
Harem trash? Rom-com trash?
Oh no, this was actually one of the ones I had wanted to discuss.
Is there anything we're not actually going to watch today?
Quite a few, actually.
Yeah,
but
it's weird. They're all
pretty
front-loaded. Yeah. All right. Go.
女の子が女の子に告白なんて。先輩を困らせるのは分かってます。でも私、こんなに誰かを好きになったの初めてなんです。
親友だからな。俺が守ってやらなきゃだろ。
好きな人ができたことないんだ。私あなたが思っているような女の子じゃないよ。私本当は。
I forgot that was a thing.
In retrospect, they really didn't give us much in that preview, did they?
This is one I don't think I even got an episode into this one.
Oh, okay. We had discussed this one a little bit in the preseason or start of season show, and this is basically a story about they use the term otokonoku, which has some very specific nuances to it and associations to it in Japan. And I won't discuss those again this time, but I will touch on the fact that it is essentially a specific culturally identified type of trans or non-binary individual, but it's a labeling that some of my friends and contacts, at least within the trans community, are pretty on the fence about at best. It's not really considered like the best representationally. But I'm going to go ahead and chalk that up to the fact that Japan does tend to be lagging approximately 30 years behind the Western world in these kinds of topics. I think in terms of the way that the subject was handled and everything in this show, it was pretty much the best that we could possibly hope for coming out of Japan at this period in time. It's definitely leaps and bounds, I think, above anything that we've seen previously, especially in terms of it being like almost the sole subject of the show. And on top of that, I will say that it definitely had its emotional moments and stuff. Like the final episode definitely had me in tears. So you can expect some real emotional impact from this show if it's something that you decide to check out and stick with. Um, this was probably the show that was closest to getting an S rank for me this season. Um, but in light of some of the complaints that I've heard about the show and some of the characters and stuff, I decided not to quite push it into the S territory. Also because the animation budget just wasn't quite there. Um, it was a decent looking show, but it certainly wasn't exceptional in regards to the visuals. So with that in mind, I did put this one as like probably I think my only other A tier pick this season. Um, so if that kind of content is of interest to you, whether you end up feeling like this was good or not, I definitely recommend giving it a watch to have a better understanding, if nothing else, of what life is like for that community in Japan as things stand currently.
Okay, it's good to know on that one. I wish it wasn't coming out in this season, but it is what it is on that.
Yeah.
All right, so good recommendation. All right, next one we have
Mayoko
Mayoko
Punch.
I don't know if you wanted to talk about that.
No, that wasn't on my list to talk about. That one was pretty much as anticipated. It ended up sitting at about a B for me.
Yeah, it's a bit odd about being a streamer or content creator, throwing vampires in with it. It's fine, nothing to write home about. I would not. It needed to be something a little more one or the other. About the only thing that really stood out to me was the stress from the comment section you can get on a creator and how terrifying that could be. But
oh yeah, for sure.
But
it's certainly not the only show that's covered that.
Yeah, it just like that was the only thing that was really stood out. Solid, but I mean, you only watch cute girls doing streamer things while also being vampires. Okay. All right, now we have the
a very long title.
Yeah.
The strongest magician in the Demon Lord's army was a human. I gave it a solid skip after watching the entire thing, and I sincerely apologize for having made it out to possibly be any kind of good.
Oh dear God! It's like it's like this was an isekai trash plot story, and then it wasn't, and that's all they changed. It wants to be a power fantasy. It's really shit, and a piece of me wants to say the worst CGI this season, but nope, I gotta give that one something a little later. So it's it ain't good. Okay. Skippity trash. We have Ramen Kenko?
Akaneko.
Akakaneko.
Red Cat. Ramen Red Cat.
Yep. This is a healing anime about cats running a ramen shop.
Which, shockingly, I did not end up watching, so all you on the rating.
It's... Oh, that's a... It's, it's not offensive, but...
It sure isn't great either from what little I did watch.
It's, you know what? No, I gotta give it a skip. It's the milk toast of milk toast.
I think if I didn't end up watching something that was principally about cats, that already says something about it.
Yep, and not worth your time too much. If you want to throw something up in the background that you don't mind listening to Japanese, it's not a bad choice. I don't know why you would pick it, but it's not a bad choice in that regard. What was this? Next up, we have Raising Kids in Another World, I'm guessing? Or
That appears to be the one, yeah. I gave that one a skip as well.
I have one tiny little rant I want to get out. Why was this the only simul dub on Crunchyroll this season? Why? What the ever living? What? Why?
It is really questionable where they decide to put their resources sometimes.
It's like this, like, okay, what's the we want to go with isekai trash that's milk toast, doesn't have it's like wholesome. It's like, this feels like the most corporate choice of safe to profit show you could think of, who just nobody do anything about anime in the process. That or I see this show being part of a push in Japan to get people to actually have goddamn kids, and possibly be getting pushed in the
latter's
US too.
accurate, but I don't see how that would contribute to it getting a simuldub.
I don't know if some money greased some wheels there, or if somebody in the US has also started to look at the declining birth rates or something and go, oh, we should jump on that now.
That does seem like a good idea. Maybe we should put out some propaganda.
No, that simul-dub really pisses me the off. That's going at the bottom of skip. That
Next up, it looks like we have Dahlia in Bloom. I gave this one a skip as well, to be honest. It could potentially have been a C tier, but it just went so nowhere.
Dull. It's
dull. It was just boring throughout and went nowhere.
It doesn't give you enough like information on like all the magical workings to be that kind of interest. It's kind of a self-empowerment story, I think, romance.
Except really it's not, because like this woman just like there's so much patriarchy happening.
it's so and I'll throw mid or top of skip.
Probably near the top of skip. Like it wasn't offensively bad, it was just really boring.
Yep. All right, moving on. Oh, hey, it's the genocidal anime.
I can't actually tell which one that is from the...
In Another World, Why Does Nobody Remember Me, I believe.
Oh yeah, that one I didn't watch, and I can't imagine why anyone would want to, but I think you watched it, right?
Yeah, I watched through the whole damn thing.
I'm sorry.
It's not the worst thing on this list. Yeah, so this is a weird isekai. What was it? The CGI that put you off on this one? Or the whole other world weird setup bit?
Honestly, it was the plot that seemed awful in this one. Like, the CGI was offensive as well, but the plot, the character interactions, everything that I saw about it in the first episode was all telling me that this show was going to be unbearable.
Yeah, this is a odd power fantasy in a... It just feels like it wants to do something. Doesn't quite know what, but it's gonna goddamn try. Mm. Yeah, I gotta put this in the skip.
I can't believe you're considering giving it a C.
It's like it tries. It's trying. I like to give points for that. I actually like effort,
Points for effort, gotcha.
but yeah, not much else. Okay, I parry everything. That's a oof.
This to me was typical, I want to say isekai trash, but it really was just regular fantasy trash.
All right, I believe that's one of the ones I hit on my list.
Was it? Oh yeah, I think it was. Yeah, let me go ahead and cue that up.
Yep, because I mainly wanted to talk about this because I there were rumblings of a lot of other people talking about this one, who were giving it more praise than I thought. But all right, here we go.
Here we
I'll
go.
finish thought.
俺は冒険者になる。
It's high dive, so there's probably no.
ここまでで覚えたのは攻撃を弾くパリーのみ。すまんが、それじゃあ冒険者の登録はしてやれねえ。この14年、一日も欠かさず鍛錬をして、パリーが少し上達しただけだ。人の役に立ちたいという夢は叶ったんだ。これ以上は贅沢かもしれないな。俺はこの程度だ。世界を旅して冒険に出たいなどと。
リンネブルグ、クレイスと申します。私をノール様の従者にしていただきたいのです。
私はできうる限りあなたの力となろう。助けが必要なら言ってくれ。
あなたは僕が家族が怖くないの？私の追い求めた答えが我々クレイス王家が代々求めた市場の強さがきっとこの人の中にあるのだから。
叫べなどうでも未来へ覚醒するなり心と体燃えたぎった時。
たとえ冒険団の主人公になれなくても目の前で怯える少女くらいは守りたい。
どんな困難があっても仲間のために、弱い人たちのために剣を振るって悪を倒す。それが冒険者だ。
Okay, so I want to talk about this one because it comes off as kind of a battle joke anime. It feels like the what was the almost One Punch Man genre of main character so OP he can defeat anything kind of bit, but what good is that if nobody recognizes it? So, story of a man, way above his skills are way above the caliber he's kept at in life, then getting to break out, but not realizing he's at how good he actually is in comparison. It becomes this running gag that is not incredibly funny at first, just because it's one of those. It's like, oh, that was kind of funny. Then it keeps going, and no matter what this guy is throwing at this guy, you can the living embodiment of parry this, you filthy casual, only to flip your sword out of your hand. I was falling off of this hard right in the middle, and then there's a weird switch in the show where the guy is faced with irrefutable proof of, oh hey, that's the ancient dragon in Legends. I'm just gonna parry everything because I'm a Dark Souls fucking master. Let me solo it.
Let me solo her.
Oh god, the dragon was a woman too. Weird like inner monologue of a dragon, like what? Just going, what? Where the joke finally kicks, and then the joke kind of comes full circle, and oh yeah, no, he is actually too stupid to realize how strong he is.
Oh yeah, no, it had real commitment to the bit for sure.
only to get to the back half of the show. And one of the things that's been enforced about this guy the entire time is he trained at all the great schools for 3 months, but couldn't develop any special skills, so he was worthless. The final episode is a recap or a flashback of all the instructors going about those 3 months they spent with him and realizing.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes. And kind of, oh dear, mother of God, this kid has 0 skills, as in video game skills, but talent through unbelievable, just the most talented thing on the planet somehow. And then realizing he went to the forest and trained for like 20 years just to become a ultimate master in himself. I'm sorry, it's it commits to the bit to the very goddamn end.
Oh, it sure does, yeah.
And then just triples, double. Oh my, it's unbelievable. It will come back around. The problem being, it's committing to the goddamn bit. It's a singular joke. And while I do admit this show is animated beautifully, they put some sakuga into this piece. It commits to one single bit. I'll put you.
Yeah, I definitely. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it can go in the top of B tier for points, but
yeah, I would definitely feel comfortable having it anywhere in the like B to C territory.
Because I don't do it too often, but guy, you get some respect. You get some respect for sticking to the bit.
All right. Next up is the Shoshimin thing. Did you end up watching that one?
I have no idea what the hell this show is.
Oh, that's the normal thing. What would think? Hang on.
Oh yeah, the living. Oh, I watched the show. I couldn't figure out what the plot of it was.
How to Become Ordinary. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now I remember this one.
I think we both ended up dropping this one.
Oh yeah, that felt dumb.
The animation felt great, but like
I watched 3 episodes of this, and the whole time I just couldn't figure out what the hell was happening. It's like it's Seinfeld if it wasn't a comedy.
Seinfeld if it were a mystery genre.
I can't figure out a better way to describe that in my brain because I didn't understand what was happening in this show. So did you want to put this anything higher than a skip or?
No, I think given that we both ended up dropping it, skip feels like the appropriate bucket. Given that we don't have a did not watch for this season.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this in the rom-com trash. I have this category. This feels like it should be in there, possibly.
Wait, did this even turn into a rom-com?
I thought it was.
As far as I know, it was a mystery show.
Yeah, like we're
It could have had a rom-com element.
We both watched some of this show. We think it's 2 different genres. The fuck are you? Yeah, I'll. I'm throwing it here because it wasn't offensive, but what was the show? All right.
All right. Next up is the Stepsister show. Days with My Stepsister.
Yeah.
I put this one at a B personally. I would probably have a lot to say about this show. Because it does have a lot of interesting points to touch on in it. if I were feeling any kind of more decent. But since I'm not, I think I'm just going to go ahead and call it a B and call that a day.
All right, it's not a problem. I skimmed through. The problem is you put those high school romances in front of me, and I just kind of blur.
Yeah.
It's a lot of effort for me not to disassociate while watching those shows. All right, Atoll or Atoll.
Autry, I think.
Autry, right? No, you're right. It is Autry. I remember that.
Yeah. Which I should know because I did actually watch the entire thing.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say this one felt, I don't want to say off, but weird to me. The entire
How
time.
much of it did you watch?
I watched, I think, 3 episodes in the front, then 2 episodes in the back.
Gotcha. I can see how you would end up feeling that way. Yeah, it was definitely a weird ride. It was a little bit touching at times. A lot of the animation was pretty good, but I still felt like this one was a pretty solid C.
All right, yeah. So we have our first C.
All right.
Oh, hey, it's the
Oh, that looks like the very, very gay series from this season.
I know what you, it's there's so many levels on that one. Yeah.
And just to be clear, I don't mean that as a derogatory at all.
Although with this show, it feels like that a little bit.
Oh, did it? That's unfortunate. I didn't end up watching any of it, so I can't comment.
It's not.
Did we know the title on this one, by the way? I'm trying to find it, but I can't remember because I didn't watch this one.
Yeah, it's that shows you what this show is like. And how irritating that could be. Let's see if I could
Twilight Out of Focus, I believe this was.
Yep, no, you are correct. It is Twilight Out of Focus. I'm just gonna throw this in the C. A little bit, I kind of can piece together. My brain doesn't feel bad. And
all right, I'll take your word on it. You definitely watched more of it than I did.
Yeah, I want to put it in the middle of skip, a little towards the top, but
wow, that bad, huh?
It's one of those I can't remember too well, and I'm kind of, I don't know if that really bodes well for it. But all right, what was it? Ayla?
All right. Alia sometimes expresses her feelings in Russian.
The Russian dub on this one was weird.
Oh? I didn't know that it had a Russian dub.
It actually has a Russian dub.
Wow. Okay.
I went back and caught it afterwards. I did not watch the whole thing in Russian. Just saying, it's weird. All right, was this one you wanted to bring up, or?
No, I gave this one a B, but we could just as easily put it in rom-com trash because there wasn't really anything super outstanding about it. Since we have that category and haven't used it yet, we could do that. But
it was fun.
It was a decent series.
Yep.
As long as you don't really want your series to go much of anywhere and you're just in it for the character interactions. All right. That next icon is far too small. I cannot tell what it is.
Yeah, I remember having a hard time finding the picture for this one. Yeah, not a lot of effort was put into that, and I can understand why. Tatsuku, Fate of the Majority.
Oh, that one. Yeah. I watched the first episode and then dropped it, so.
Oh dear, mother of God, whoever wrote this thought they were smarter than they were. This is oh, this is
It felt like a middle schooler's attempt at writing what they thought would be a better version of a death game.
That is an insanely accurate description of this freaking show. Oh my! This is a death game that I think it was like episode 2 or 1, maybe. They throw out the rules.
I think it was episode 1, which is why I dropped it after episode 1.
Yeah, and so right before the finale, or they have their finale early, kill the main characters, and then keep going. With an entirely new person introduced on episode 10 as your main character. I am not making this up.
I mean, it's a bold choice. I'll give it that, but
like kill the villain, episode 9, kill your main characters, and then keep the story going with an entirely new main character. I'm like, I can't. Skip.
yeah, that's where I put it too.
That's
It's a very
this is going to the bottom.
Sword Art Online style plot twist.
I feel like that's being addicted to Sword Art Online. All right, let's get to something I actually would like to talk about.
Yeah. So next up, it looks like is Bye Bye Earth.
Yes.
Which we did want to discuss, so I've got the video queued up here.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm guessing you didn't see much of this one?
Oh no, it was last minute, but I actually ended up finishing this one, even though I had originally dropped it.
All right, I wanted to say, it's like, I believe I did bring up at the start, this felt like it was going to be a show that created its own fantasy world from the ground up with its own rules. Called that one right away. We're going to say that really well off right there. We know this show will throw a ton of proper nouns at you, a ton of terms that you won't know understand the full meaning of, different aspects that seem really strange. But if you can get over that kind of hump and just let yourself be immersed into the world and let it kind of unfold and develop around you, this show is good.
Well, I'm going to counterpoint to that, because I had 2 or 3 major issues with this show. One of which is we never actually got to experience any of the kind of Sakuga that we got in the first episode again in the show. It very much front-loaded that visual fidelity on us as like a tease, and then we pretty much never saw anything on that level of even remotely close to it throughout the entire rest of the show.
Which the other point is, I will also say it is a 10-episode show at this point.
Yeah, that's another issue I took with it. It just kind of didn't finish its season. I don't know what's going on there exactly with the production or what, but very bizarre choice for it to wrap up where it did. It definitely felt like there were supposed to be at least 2 or 3 more episodes in the season, but it just kind of stopped. And you know, the trailer there talked about how this girl is on her journey. Strictly speaking, we ended this without her ever actually getting to begin that journey. She never made it out of the starting town.
Yep. The only point I'm kind of giving to that is it does say it wants to be a fantasy epic, and I could definitely see them doing arc by arc, area by area. The I'm getting the feeling this doesn't have a hook that you enjoyed, though.
I mean, okay, the world building really caught me early on. I really loved what they were doing with a lot of it. I felt disappointed that they didn't follow up on a lot of what they were doing with it and explain that in a way that was useful and understandable. They just kind of kept piling on more and more new stuff that didn't make sense, which is really not how you want to handle that kind of thing. So, I mean, if this thing gets more seasons and eventually starts to unravel some of that mess, great. It might turn into something good again. But as it stands right now, judging it just off of what's available, it feels very incomplete. It feels poorly thought through how it was implemented. Um, and it feels like they basically gave us a huge tease by giving us all of this really stellar animation in episode 1 and then not following up on that quality at all.
Yep, I could definitely see that. That was going to be some of my retractors I was going to bring out on it. The points I want to get, it's like, I love what the world's trying to build. I feel so much potential just sitting under the hood here. I was waiting for like a big wrap up at the very end there to finally set off, which would put this,
just never came is the problem.
Yeah, this show is there's so much to love here, but it's a handbreadth away. It's a handbreadth away. And I feel like you want to throw us in the skip or C tier, don't you?
I actually still gave it a B despite my gripes, but I could just as easily give it a C.
All right, about mid of the B is where I wanted to put this. Put right next to.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay with that.
If you just had a little bit more,
realized its potential, and as it stands, I can't really judge it to be anything better than what it is.
Yep. All right. You are no longer allowed in another world.
All right. I don't think that either of us wanted to talk about this one too much. Coffin car.
Coffin mobile. Yeah, that's a thing you will find in this show. If you ever
and also once again making the bus coon canon.
That's a very fun one, but
or truck coon thereof.
Yeah. Basically, if you for a Western audience, if you're familiar with the works of Edgar Allan Poe and kind of wonder what it would be like if he ever got isekai to another world, and I mean isekai, I mean basic fantasy power trip isekai plotline with a couple interesting twists that they do kind of pile on at the end, but it does everything.
Comedy to it too.
Yeah, it does everything well enough. I kind of want to put this in the C, not in a skip.
I definitely wouldn't call it a skip personally. Normally, I would have put this in like isekai trash if we had that category, but
I think this is what is? Oh, there's only like a couple isekai this season. I'm only just kind of realizing that.
Yeah, most of the fantasy anime this season were actually fantasy anime and not isekai, at least as far as we know.
Yeah, that's odd. All right. Also, suicide warning with that one, or unaliving warning.
Yes. Self-harm in general.
Oh, ooh. All right. Westoria.
Yeah.
Wand and sword.
This is one of the ones we wanted to talk about, I think, wasn't it?
Yes.
Somehow I don't have this one queued up, so give me just a moment.
Oh, no problem. This one is another one I kind of wanted to bring up for
Okay. Should be all set here now.
All right.
この世は魔法絶対至上主義。権威とは魔法であり、力とは魔力であり、英雄とは明治である。知識はあっても魔法が一切使えない無能者など、賢者が生まれるこの場所にふさわしくない。
この世界で魔法が使えない奴がマギアペンデなんて口にするな。
だから僕は実習ダンジョンで単位を稼ぐしか。
見る。魔法を使えないお前はどうあっても実技の単位を習得できない。今週中に単位4を獲得する必要があるからな。
今週中。
6層にバスカビルが出現したという情報がある。
ありがとうございます。僕だってやればできるんだ。魔法を使えなくたって
私知ってるよ。ウィルは優しくて誰よりも勇気があるんだって。
ウィルは正しく異端児です。何？確かにウィルは一切の魔法が使えない。しかし彼はこの魔法世界の中で唯一の戦士。こんなことあってはならない。
これは一人の少年が世界を覆す物語。杖と剣のウィストリア。
Okay, so this show I had heard a lot of hype about. A lot of other people I had been on boards talking about this one or hyping this up. This is a show, if you're been in the anime community long, you'd be familiar with shows like Black Clover or Mashal. Might ring a few bells. Oh my God, does everybody in this entire goddamn show really want to suck off the main character?
Okay, well, you can make the argument that some of them at least have like a major hate boner for him.
He's a tsundere. He is just a fucking tsundere. Not the main character, the person she's talking about, the hate boner. He is the actual redheaded tsundere. I think he calls him. Did he actually call him a baka at one point?
He might have. I can't remember.
The world building on this, I love. The animation is
better at some times than others. There really shouldn't be jagged edges on your non-anti-aliased CGI backgrounds in 2024. Come on, get with the times, people.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. A lot of although I will say the worst doesn't show up to the very end where the budget felt like it was kind of petering out, because they really.
It's interesting that you would say that, because I felt like the middle of the series is really where it faltered the most.
Yeah, you mean about the
tournament arc?
Yeah, that was only 2 episodes.
Was it really only 2 episodes? It felt like a lot more.
Yeah, the problem arose and then was resolved in 2 episodes. Yeah, it's weird thinking it's part of the problem I have with this show. It's like there's so much interesting things except for the main character, who everybody is really hot for. Even his confirmed guy roommate is somebody actually called this it's she wants you. It's no, he's a guy. What? Are you sure? Yeah, trust me, I watched. He's even bigger than me. That's an ongoing joke. It's you That character's barely seen in this one. Like, you're looking for him, like, oh yeah, they want him. They're hot for him.
If anything, I feel like one of the major sins of the show is it failed to develop the character who's supposed to be the principal love interest at all, while giving all this airtime to all these other random characters that were all clearly into him instead.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't notice any of these. Yeah, at least from that point, it's a don't quite want to say gender fluid harem, but it's an all encompassing
At least
harem.
a mixed gender harem.
Yeah,
equal opportunity.
Yeah. I I said that they should just raise the quality if they wanted stuff to stand out, but dear God, I think I might have to gut C tier to skip if these lists keep going like this. Dear God, because this has to slide into a B tier. It's
I mean, sometimes it's just like that, you know. Not everything ends up being C quality.
It stands out, but it just falls short, and
it has really high highs and really low lows.
Yeah. All right. Trailer.
Oh, Osan Newbie Adventure.
Yay!
夢を追うなら若いうちが良い。人は皆そう考える。
僕は冒険者になるぞ。
だがどうしても夢を諦めきれない。そんな大人もどこかにいる。
諦めたはずなのに、ずっと俺は。止まらぬ衝動。
あれ、リク先輩ですよね。
I knew the moment I heard that song that this would be a series for you, Agent.
自信をお持ちください。
And we'll go into that in a
最強
second.
を誇るパーティー。オリハルコンフィストのメンバーなのですから。
お前の夢はまだ無傷だぜ。少なくとも俺はこう思いますよ。人間、いつから何始めたっていいんだって。
肉体は限界を超え、破壊と修復を繰り返すことで強くなるのだ。
あなたは強いです。
面白そうだ。
別にいいじゃねえか。何歳から冒険者やったって、何歳から新しいことを始めたって、そうだろ。冒険者たち。新米王さん冒険者最強パーティーに死ぬほど鍛えられて無敵になる。7月放送開始。
All right, and some of you may have heard, depending on what this got copyrighted as. The opening song was incredibly well. Yuki, how would you like to describe it?
Very Japanese machismo.
Yeah, this on well, especially with the singer of that, because I believe that's the one of the oldest, not oldest, but if you're familiar with older anime in the machismo opening, Go Get 'Em of Mazinger, other such shows like that, maybe even Devilman, that's the guy who sung them. This is a show whose entire purpose is to be that old to be the old taku, the old anime fan, to see you're a little bit past that, but still have that drive, still have all that energy to, let's goddamn do this. Let's go for it. I can still freaking do this. It's that energy. and then they take it and they put it in the format of that early 90s, that 80s, that fantasy adventure of the olden era that's kind of died out nowadays. In a show just about being an adventurer. There is the quest to gather the 7 balls to unlock the gate to fight the dragon. But you see so much of fun getting there, all the goofy characters, all the fun adventures, and it's just happy.
Although, it's interesting that you say that, because the reality is the entirety of the show was a tournament arc with training montage flashbacks.
Hey, it was 2 tournament arcs.
Kind of.
Like this, I mean, they got 2 of the dragon spheres.
They actually get 2?
I think they got 2.
I know that they definitely acquired 1 from the tournament. I can't remember where they
Yeah.
might have gotten the other one from.
Also, a fun tournament arc with, honestly, one of the most machismo, pass it forward, mad fights. I haven't watched a show that was just this amount of fun, and it just tried to be fun the entire time. All of the characters we get backstories for, they're deep, they're interesting, but the most important, they're just fun. These are just fun, generic. I'm not going to say that there's a lot of originality here, but there's just some fun stuff here.
I feel like them being generic is almost part of the point.
Yeah, it's also part of that fun charm. I want to put this in the A category. I don't know if
I won't stop you.
I don't know if you have any retractors on that bit, but
I honestly don't feel like it probably belongs quite that high personally. I feel like visual wise, they did a good job with what they had. They kept things consistent, but it certainly wasn't very spectacular. And I think it certainly had its weaknesses as well. It relied a lot on everyone having that kind of shared experience that they expected their target audience to have. And if you didn't have that, I feel like the show's experience would suffer for you pretty considerably. Personally, I probably would have put this in the fantasy isekai trash category if we had one, but since we don't, I have a hard time giving it a solid A, though, personally. Do with that as you will.
I can definitely see where you're coming from on that one. It's just that is
I think if it isn't your type of show, you're not going to be into it, which means to me that it's not usually more of an A rank.
Yeah, you're talking me out. I can definitely see that. I'm having to put my own bias. I'm gonna put it top of the B. It's going above I Parry everything at the very least.
That's fine. I think those two shows are at a relatively similar level.
Yeah, I'll put it above that. You've talked me down. You are a part of my balancing, part of the balancing here. Oh, hey, I think we're
I can't tell which one that is from.
Oh, that's the isekai with the trashiest of trash animation CGI.
Oh no!
Failure frame. I became the strongest and annihilated everything.
Oh no! Yep. Did you finish that one? I definitely dropped it pretty early.
Holy fucking fucking! I'm bringing up all my swearing right now. Holy isekai dark fantasy trash bin bird campfires. It's Oh. Like the only point I want to give it are its CGI monsters are so horrifying that their inhumanness is almost kind of good. The other problem being,
and yet the CGI itself is such garbage.
by the way, almost everything all the time is CGI. Oh my god.
This one was definitely a solid skip for me.
Yeah. Don't recommend.
I can't justify this as anything but at most a hate watch.
Yeah, that's oh, but is it the worst of the skips? That's the question here.
Excellent question. Let's see, what was that other one again? It's so tiny.
It's the death game that
Oh, I think it was worse than the death game.
yeah, at least the death game had some fun concepts and ideas. This is everything looks
It also
so bad.
wasn't straight up offensive visually. All right.
All right, this is the one that made you sick.
Oh, the cheerleading one. Yeah, did you end up watching that? I think you did, right?
I watched a chunk of it.
Narinare, cheer for you.
Yeah, this was my brain kind of fogged over when I was watching this thing. I'm gonna be honest. It's so much mush. It's just mush.
I mean, honestly, it's the sort of show that I can certainly forgive someone for. I don't even want to say dissociating. I feel like it'll put you into like an epileptic coma.
Yeah, it's people we're kind of giving this one some hype on the channels, but it's like I could not figure out why. It's well, once again, Yuki, you were this has photos CGI filtered backgrounds, I think is what they're called or something.
Yeah, something like that. They're clearly actual photos, and then they've applied some filters over them with like a horrendous color palette that makes no sense.
And was making you nauseous, I believe.
Yes, it certainly was, especially when they had high motion, which was pretty frequent.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's this is a it's a mid skip. It is a solidly mid skip.
Yeah, personally for me, it was near the very bottom, just based off of it causing physical illness alone. But also, it seemed to have some other problems as well, like the blonde-haired, blue-eyed.
All right, the I don't know. I'm a Brazilian-born German.
Yeah, certainly nothing strange about that.
Yeah. I forgot. I forgot about that. Oh, I don't know if that was intentional, but
I mean, how could it not have been?
the
only way that it could not have been is if they fell into the anime trope of any foreign character is always a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl in order to appeal to the specific foreigner kink.
The thing is that area actually does have a high German population.
For reasons that we will not discuss here.
Yeah, so it could be somebody who doesn't know about like outside stuff in the world, looked up like Brazilian something, found out there was a ton of Germans there, like, Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I wonder why. I'll put one of them in my show. That sounds like fun.
However, given Japan's history, I feel like it's the sort of thing that they ought to be aware of culturally.
I can see. I feel like I only know that fact because I'm pretty deep into the. I don't want to say sauce, but I love lore and history stuff, and I feel like I know that because of that, and because I watch enough anime that loves to reference that kind of thing.
I, on the other hand, don't, and I was still aware of it, so.
All right. Okay.
Take that as you will.
Okay, so we can't quite help that. I'll throw that there. The rest of this is girls with trauma trying to become cheerleaders. It's mushy. There's not a lot here. But all right. The one where the guy marries a vacuum cleaner.
Pretty much. Yeah, so my wife has no emotion. This one I actually wanted to discuss a little bit.
All right. Actually, would toaster be more accurate at the moment?
Probably, yeah. In fact, she does have a toasting feature.
いいな。僕のお嫁さんになってくれないかな。
お嫁さんとは何をすればよいのでしょうか。
They literally call her an appliance.
あの子はただの家電製品なんだぞ。
温め開始いたします。
僕のためにピッシンドをしてくれる女の子ってなんて愛らしいんだろう。
お兄ちゃんがバカー。なんで彼女いること黙ってんの。ご主人様じゃない。おはようございます。スーパーミーナです。
あれは本当のラブなのか、それともそういう機能だったのか。
たくま様は夫です。
だってロボットじゃん。本気なの？
本気だよ。この子のこと好きなんだ。
ロボットと本気で付き合ってるって最高じゃん。迎えに来てくださったんですか？
うるさい。散歩したかったんだよ。以前の所有者は人間らしい振る舞いができないことに不満があるようでした。
僕たちから生まれてきた。
そう感じるだけの単なる不具合です。
嬉しい時、それは奇跡って言うんじゃないか。
私の防水保護等級は8級です。水中でチャーハンが作れます。
チャーハンの方に防水機能ないでしょ。
Okay. I don't want to repeat myself too much. This was another Billy show. It really, it's technically a step up in quality for them, but that's not saying much. What I wanted to point out specifically that I didn't mention in the early season. First off, having watched the entirety of this show, it was exactly as bad as I expected it to be. But more importantly, that mascot character that you see in the preview here is one of the most grating, annoying mascot characters I have ever encountered in any series.
Oof. That's
shrill voice, not cute at all, and is just like a constant center of attention in the show, despite being like just so bad and not endearing. Like, they place so much importance on what the character represents by being as effectively their child, but they treat it more like a pet the entire time. And for good reason, because that's about the intelligence level that it's at. Yeah. This show had maybe one or two, like, sentences in it that felt like they could have been profound in a better show. but in this series, even those kind of fell flat, and it's not even by a wide margin the best robot waifu show this season. That's my 2 cents. Solid skip. Give it a wide berth.
Okay, yeah, that's
Kill it with fire.
yeah, this felt like all right. So, how bad of the skipometer are we going down here?
I would say it's just below the child raising show.
Oof. Oh, well, the skipometer's getting up there. All right, the next
Yeah.
one.
Now, it could have hypothetically gone into rom-com trash, but the reality is it doesn't even deserve to be in that category.
I can feel the Yuki hate for this one. Ooh, ooh. All right, next up we have a Nobody is Way Up in Exploration Hero.
Yeah, so I did end up finishing that one. I'm not sure if you ended up watching much of it.
I watched a good chunk of it, kind of on fast forward. This one felt weird.
Yeah, it was like very pseudo lolly chibi characters that were just stuck in that form all the time, and like I don't know. It had some world building, I guess. I would normally have tossed this in our like fantasy isekai trash bin, but
I don't know. I felt
somewhere between C and skip.
I felt just mildly uncomfortable watching this whole goddamn thing. And I watched some really awful stuff. This made me uncomfortable somehow.
Interesting.
I don't know. It just I just did not like the dynamics they set up with a lot of these characters. It felt really off.
Well, I mean, yeah, the character interactions and dynamics were definitely pretty bad. But not any worse than what I've seen in a lot of other series.
Yeah,
I think the biggest crime about it was that it felt like it was supposed to be so central to the series, and yet was so terrible.
Yeah, I'll throw it towards the top of the skip just because we're not doing too bad there, but okay, yeah, let's Kanikuman.
Oh, that is actually okay. Sorry, the picture on it is smaller.
Yeah,
right,
it's unfortunately this was a. Okay, I'll let the trailer go on this one before I get.
ザ・テリーマン人呼んで荒馬テキサスブロンコ正義超人の運命はこの荒馬に託された 会が始まったらもう邪魔はできん。
I do feel like they probably should have called the ref on some of those moves.
Okay, so what I would like to state before I go into full onslaught here, give me a second, is this show happens to be part of the Netflix era of reviving classic series and giving them animations and shows in a sense that they've never really gotten the chance to. One of their first experiences this was Devilman. Kinnikuman Perfect Origin arc is, I believe, their second. It might be their third. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I could not figure out what it was. And coming down the line, we also have Ranma and possibly Slayers. I've heard rumblings about.
Really? That would be of interest to me.
Yep. Well, the Ranma or the Slayers.
Well, both really, but Slayers in particular as one of my favorite series. I don't know if I'll end up liking what they do with it, but I'll certainly be interested to see what they do with it.
Okay, and with all of that a little bit put out of the way, let me just say one crucial thing. Let's get ready for some wrestling! Oh my fucking mother, holy! Oh! This is the absurdity, the absolute menace and madness that is the pro wrestling story making and world building. Crank up to anime and then just told to goddamn run. Every second of this is big machismo world-ending events decided by two oiled-up men fighting in a ring. If that sounds stupid and over the top to you, then you're in the right place. If you can't quite get behind absolute absurdity going through a crazy fight to fight to the death in a lot of cases here, actually. The trailer didn't give away. This is what if everything was real? What if all of that crazy stuff could happen? And this show revels in that fact. This is like, what if perfect warriors from the planet Neptune came down to Earth and decided they wanted to prove the superiority and challenge the human race's greatest warriors to a battle? I can't sell it or detract any more than that. This is what it wants to be, front and center, and it delivers great sakuga in some of the craziest places. Outrageous, over-the-top characters, and just lets them fight. In the weirdest ways, because they will lead into all of their gimmicks. It's like, I believe one of my favorite lines is, "Oh no, I can't use my famous Texas knee drop on him because his giant tires, the tires he has in his shoulders make it so I can't slam his head onto the mat." Because the man was part truck.
Literally.
Yes, literally. He was he was part tractor. And I can't tell if I'm selling this or not selling this on you for you, Yuki.
Probably not really selling it for me personally, but not really my genre of show.
That being noted, God, Devilman and Kinnikuman Perfect Origin arc, this is a solid A tier. Like, while I say it might not be like a genre for everybody and detract if you don't like that. This is kind of a show that has to stay in its lane to understand its audience. Like this, if you like wrestling, you will love this show. If that is something you can never get behind, you will not like the show will not quite sell you on it, but the concept it is selling is of the highest quality.
Fair enough. So A for mastery.
Yeah.
Next up is Dungeon People. I would say that show was a solid C.
Yep. That's I watched bits and pieces of it.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was a lot of nothing.
Yep. That's about much as I have on that one too.
It was cute girls doing cute dungeon things.
Why can't I just get we get a dungeon management game where heroes come in? It's like they always have to be like topside RTSs too. It's like that's a different rant. It's a fine show. I can't even. It makes me mad about other things.
Plus size elf. I would call this one a C as well. If plus size elves are your thing, you'll probably get some enjoyment out of this because there's not a lot of other places you can get that. If not, you probably won't be into this show.
Yeah. If you want to watch chubby elves trying to lose weight and watching their clothes rip in the process, you learn some dietary and exercise facts in this. It's
Yeah, they tried to throw in kind of an edutainment element to take the edge off of the like sort of fat shaminess of it, but I don't feel like it worked too well to that end.
No, I didn't. I almost don't want to call it fat. Yeah, it's
It
kind of
100% fat shames the characters ridiculously often.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's like I was trying to go. It's like, oh, but they're trying to. It's like, yeah, no, that's the backside of that. It's yeah. All right. 2.5 seduction.
2.5 dimensional seduction, yeah. So I'm gonna, I don't know. I'd be comfortable putting this in rom-com trash or
Yeah.
C tier. Although it really, like, yeah, I'm not sure rom-com trash should have been a category, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
It's really not at the same level as Alia. But it's we have my dress-up darling at home, and it 100% delivered on that. But it was nothing more than that by any means.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out a better category to throw all this romance blah into, and it was just like that's the first thing that sprung to mind. But yeah, not quite. I guess I wasn't expecting so many of them to kick up into at least B.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there was a lot of diversity in the quality of them, despite there being so many.
Yeah, but all right, we have our final listing. Nothing on S. Machismo and fluffy romances. A bunch of
Caveat: I definitely would not call Senpai's no Tokonoko a fluffy romance by any means.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm trying to summarize. I'm trying to blend those three shows together into one meaning. It's like, oh, it's a little bit hard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, especially those first two, couldn't be any more different.
yeah, we're not gonna argue that. The B is it's a lot of fine in here. Like there's a lot of fine. It's good. I enjoy it. It's some of it I like. Some of it's needs to be finished. Our C's are unoffensive, as most C's generally are. God damn, I'm gonna have to start. We might have to start dropping C category. I will make a better trash category next season. I swear. I swear this.
I mean, it's fine for C to exist. Like, just because a category doesn't get anything in it, like S this time around, doesn't mean it's not important for it to exist on the scale for perspective.
Yeah, I could see that. I meant the rom-com trash, actual trash.
Oh yeah, the rom-com trash one for sure. That
I need some more workshopping. And the fucking skip. Quit you. There should not be this many shows on this category. At least 4 of you should not have been made. One of you should not have been dubbed.
we might have been a little bit unfairly harsh to the Dahlia show, but like at the same time, it just wasn't entertaining.
Yeah, there's stuff on here you kind of feel bad for, to put it next. It's the bottom half.
Yeah, there's some real like F minus shows in there, whereas other stuff is kind of like a D plus.
Yeah, it's like a little piece of it's like, oh, maybe we should rank our skip. These don't deserve that much time. Nothing here deserves more time than it's been gotten. I feel irritated it's taking up this much of my thought processes. The back half of you, the front half, do better. Be less creepy. Make me want to watch your show. But with that, we have our final list, which will be posted after stream on social media links. Yuki, if you would like to give any shout-outs to any of your links or post any of those anywhere?
Well, I'm at Yuki Kaze Gaming on pretty much everything.
Yep, and I don't have a Twitch link ready to go. God darn it. But all right, I think we are good to call it. I know you're not feeling to the best.
Yep, and sorry for the quality from my side this time around, everybody. It's definitely been a hard couple of days here, and I'm just on the cusp of recovering, and I'm sure it shows.
You did good. Like I was honestly surprised you were as talkative as you were.
I can tell my voice definitely hasn't quite held out.
Yep, but all right, for rating out, you want to go rate out Hoots?
It sounds good to me.
All
Always
right.
happy to give Hoots a raid.
Yep. All right, everybody. We should be back in hopefully a couple weeks with a better Yuki, going over the previews of this winter anime, or no, fall anime, not quite the winter yet, which it's already looking so much better. It's looking so much better.
And also a few less shows to have to spread our time between.
Thank you. Which I believe this is also when Rama's airing, so we'll give it a heads up on that.
I think so, but I don't think it started just yet. But it could fall into Netflix hell and release all at once or something, so who's to say how that'll go.
Yep, but all right, we'll catch you all later.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.